5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Go Get Your Shine Box. This is Jim, and I'll let the boys kick it in.
I think that Paul already jumped in there. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was there like an extra growl in that intro there? I thought I heard something.
Yeah. Hey, I was a little exuberant, you know.
All right.
Aloha, boys. I'm a little late getting to the show today, but I'm here.
Well, you know what? We hardly noticed.
And, you know, we wouldn't have missed it, you regardless.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So now, everybody's prepared here today, and from what I understand, because we were going over, pre-production rather, we were going over our notes, and everybody came prepared tonight, right, guys?
Oh yeah, we're ready to go. We're roaring and ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah. Food shortages in the U.S. and what's behind the crisis. I mean, that's the generic title. We may or may not beef that up a little bit. No pun intended. With that being said, I think Paul, you had did you say you had a comment to open up with?
I wanted to comment with another win for the Boomer. I think we're going to make this a recurring item on the show. We're going to call it Paul Boomer Takes the W. All right.
All right. Hold on. Did we run this through the council?
Yeah, be ready to write down the time stamp.
Well, all right, we can discuss it afterwards. But
yeah, we're gonna run this.
Trump come out the other day and said something like this. He said, "Yeah, I came in as the new guy. I hired John Bolton so that when I sat down to deal with these other countries, they'd look at this crazy mofo next to me and be scared shitless." And I've been saying that since day freaking one.
Okay.
All right. When all these smooth-brained retards like Tim Pool, who I follow, by the way.
I don't. Is he
check
that douche that wears the hat all the time?
The beanie, because he's bald. Yeah.
Is he cold or?
No, he's bald.
So there's a lot of people who are bald. They're not ashamed of it.
Well, I guess he is.
I personally have a beautiful head of hair.
Yes, hair. I got hair you wouldn't believe. I make the dude look like he's high and tight. You know what I mean?
Or 12 pounds of swinging meat and enough hair to weave a Navajo rug. I ain't no boy.
But anyway, so and all these pundits are like, "Oh, I can't be," they go back and they say, "Yeah, Trump made a lot of mistakes with Bolton. And I want to throttle these people because they are morons. They are morons.
Yeah. Highly paid morons.
That was the obvious choice. Yeah. You get a freaking war hawk crazy son of a bitch when you come into the presidency as effectively a TV show guy.
Well, historic. He had it was excuse me. Let me try this.
Historic.
It was a historic pick.
We'll wait while you learn to speak.
I know. Dyslexia is a horrible disease.
You've got to be really stupid or ignorant or uninformed if you don't understand that when Trump was in office, pretty much everything was in control. And nowadays, or in our current leadership, it's gone to shit. And if you can't see that, I'm talking about our economy. I'm talking about getting us into a third world war. Everything about our country right now has gone to shit with Biden, and with Trump, everything was on the right track and going where it needed to go.
I don't know. I just came from CNN, and they said everything is just freaking great, man.
And they're lying to you. They're lying to you. And I don't understand. I can't, for the life of me, understand why they continue to go down this road to completely destroy this country. I don't understand it.
I'll tell you why. because they suffer no consequences for doing so. Now, I'm just going to leave that.
Yeah, because it's a too big of a hole to go down right now and to get away from what we're talking about. But it's a mentality, it's a religion, and that's an entirely separate topic we can talk about. This water must have something in it because I can't see. I don't know what the deal is, but
anyway, I wanted to take the W. We'll talk about this after the show. I'd like to make it a permanent thing. Another thing I'd like to do is trivia. We start off with a trivia thing, and then we'll give the answer at the end or something like that. But we got a lot of burgeoning engagement with the listeners, the viewers, and I want to make them feel part of the system.
Absolutely. And that being said, like we'll get back to the topic du jour, and if I keep using restaurant references, maybe you'll get why.
You're hungry?
I'm a little hungry, but since the food shortage in the U.S. are prohibiting me from having a pot pie.
You're hungry because you just came from the food grocery store and the shelves were bare.
Well, you know how much it costs to fill my Ferrari up now? That's another topic. I don't know.
Almost as much as it cost me to fill up my shopping cart, probably.
Yeah, right. But so I mean that's what we're talking about, and of course I'm going to hit a couple different pistons on this, and that was not a food reference, but because it was pretty difficult to find so-called legitimate sources to sit there and say to agree with that there's such a thing. And Paul, you got a small piece that you're going to hit later, but basically what the purpose of this is to at least our listeners to bring it to the front. There actually is shortages. There actually is a rise in costs. Now, granted, and I didn't take the notes on this, but there has been certain elements of the food industry, and particularly like something like an avocado, that has gone down in price. But a lot of those particular items were what would you call them? They don't have a long shelf life, so some of the produce stuff, and they're trying to, how they blame certain things on a low yield of a crop, and they also say, whoa, this was a bumper crop, but well, why? We don't know why. Only time we ever know anything is why it wasn't. So dumb example. Well, it's not really a dumb example since avocados are pretty popular. They dropped in price, and we were told they dropped in price because it was a good season. Well, that's not science. A good season. What does that exactly mean? The fact of the matter is, this is what it is. People weren't paying a premium for the product. Plain and simple. It's everything and Kudlow says this. Everything comes down to supply and demand in economics. It doesn't matter what product it is. It's supply and demand. If you're not going to pay $3 for that avocado is going to rot. Okay? And before you know it, they have a bunch of rotten avocados. And what happens when they have rotten avocados? The next batch that comes out, they sell cheaper because they'll move them off the shelf instead of wasting. It's better to make half the money than none of the money. That's what the issue is. So they're even lying to you when they're saying, "Oh, prices have come down on certain food items." Well, that's actually supply and demand. That's actually the people dictating in those particular situations.
That's a good point.
Well, it doesn't like. Well, the left lies to us every single day. You listen to the left, and you know the old saying, when somebody's lying when you see that when their lips are moving. Right. That's the left. Yeah. It's one lie after another, and it's compounded, and they keep lying and lying and lying till they believe their own lies.
And when you believe the lie you're telling, the people that you're telling it to tend to believe it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a psychological operation.
I just heard what's that? What's the I don't know his name. Call me ignorant, but not the Speaker of the House. I know who that is, but the on the Democrat side, what's his name? Jim, some weird freaking name. I don't know.
Not Jeffries. Jeffries.
Jeffries. What's his first name? Akuma or something or?
Who gives a shit?
Kareem or Karam or something.
But Jeffries just got up on his pulpit and was telling everybody that the economy is under Biden it's increasing and it's strong and unemployment is up and everything. He literally just a couple of days ago was spouting this bullshit because it's a lie.
Well, he's a fine black man, though.
Yeah, lies. It's like the black kid that got killed by the 5 black cops. That's white supremacy. God, really, lies. Stop already. You need to stop.
Well, yeah, and that's why it's important to understand certain aspects of what we talk about. Because if you're armed with the importance of the history and reasons for something that we're talking about, which is food shortages, you understand you have the tools. You have the armor to say, well, actually they're saying this, but this is the root cause. And hopefully we're going to hit a little bit of that. And I don't want to turn this into one of those dry college dorm sessions. But it's important, to understand the context. That way you can compare and contrast. And then if you still want to believe the lie, I guess that's, welcome to America. You can believe the lie if you like.
Right.
But we've had food shortages before. And if anybody's familiar with P.J. O'Rourke, he wrote a pretty good book. He wrote several pretty good books. And the full title is long and it's going to escape me, but the basic essence is feast or famine. All of these things are by design caused by government, whether you want to call it policy, ignorance, lack of policy, deliberate, whatever it may be. But if you look throughout the entire world, especially at countries that should ordinarily be thriving and are starving, it's almost entirely a governmental decision, a lack of decisions, especially when you're talking about African countries that we literally give millions to in some cases, and that food never reaches the impoverished. And I don't know, if you live in Africa for 2,000 years and you haven't figured out how to dig a well, I don't know, maybe they should put some colleges in or something. Not that college is going to make you build a well, but you get my point.
Yeah. That's, at this, I can't even understand how a country like countries in Africa can be so primitive, literally primitive in today's world. It just boggles my mind. I mean, I know that some of these countries get money, get hundreds, thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. And where does it go? It doesn't.
Yeah, and that's ultimately leading to the point of responsibility, because the people don't care. We talked about Monsanto and how they manipulated grains and actually gene lines of food. But as we all know, food is security. I mean, right. if you control, and this is leading somewhere, if you control the food, you control the people. If you control the language, you control the culture. And so if you don't think this is about control, it most certainly is. And if, like you were saying, Joe, if you're watching CNN and they're telling you everything's honky-dory, but you just paid $8 for a dozen crappy eggs, right. Maybe you should take the two and put them together and say, maybe there's something wrong here.
Well, here's a good point, too. I mean, you talked about Monsanto. You got to think about, like, our government is part of the problem, is a part of the big problem.
Yeah.
If they allowed Monsanto to sue farmers that they had their crop was
cross-contaminated,
was pollinated by a field with their seeds in it. So this poor farmer that did not use Monsanto seeds now has, his corn is now pollinated by that. So the Monsanto says, well, we own that. And we sued that farmer and they won. How is that? Yeah. How is that even possible? Yeah. It's possible because our government allows that. That's how it's possible. Our government's responsible for it. Our government needs to be put in its place, needs to be squashed down, downsized, and be put in its place, and needs to protect our country and not destroy our country.
Amen. But did we lose Paul?
No, I'm back.
I'm back. Okay.
I was gone, but now I'm back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And I was kind of formulating in my head to point this arrow in one particular direction, and that direction is a guy called Bill Gates.
Oh, don't get me
interesting
started.
fella. Well, I think I got you started. So, but interesting stuff. Try finding some facts on Bill Gates regarding food shortages, and you get nothing but accolades, and how he's such a philanthropist, and on and on and on and on. But I think we're going to talk about a few things that might change your mind. But I was looking up when I was doing some research, came across the PolitiFact stuff, which is, it's pretty funny actually, because they dispute every theory that you could come up with, every so-called conspiracy theory. Everything is a conspiracy theory. But regarding like the eggs, because that's the big one right now, the agricultural department said the avian flu outbreak in the U.S. is the main contributor to low inventory and high prices. Other factors, and this is funny because this is a fairly new release. Other factors were pandemic related, specifically supply chains and holiday demand. So they took all of those obvious things. These are talking points that they've been talking about for the past 3 years, almost as if it's a setup. But what they didn't show was that I think it was the Connecticut plant that was somehow mysteriously caught on fire and burnt to the ground. And we're going to get into a whole list of stuff like that. But how did that happen? No investigation, didn't make any national news. None of these 2 or 3 pages worth of manufacturers, producers, not only eggs, but everything burnt somewhere or another, or the catastrophe hit. Over the last decade, this is the PolitiFact. Gates has invested in multiple companies, including Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. He's into this wacky. He doesn't eat it, but he wants you to eat this non-food, this non-meat meat.
Yeah, but that is linked with the food shortages because they think that cows and chickens are putting out too much. The cows with too much methane, and the chickens probably with their refuse.
All that nitrogen is no good for the earth.
Yeah, and they want to stop that. So that ties in with the food shortage. Here's your printed freaking meat dinner. So you have to keep these things in mind. And not only that, the time is gone when these people get the benefit of the doubt. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
We are far, far beyond the line of where these people have to be assumed to be evil. All right.
Yep. And
whether they're drunk on power, whatever the deal is, which is certainly Bill Gates's case.
Yeah.
And they want to, mold the world in their image. By the way, my friend Waffles, I don't know if I've used her real name. I don't want to put that up there. Anyway, she gave me some good stuff on Gates. Unfortunately, because I had to change broadcasting platforms, I don't have it in front of me. But he's been a bad dude since forever.
Yeah. We're not going to run out of material on him.
I really hate to even use his name to give him any kind of recognition at all. But doesn't he own like a very large percentage of farmland?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Joe. Since 2020, Gates has held the title in the nation's largest private farmland owner per the land report. As of 2022, he owned 248,000 acres of farmland across more than a dozen states. And then, of course, this has to be this. See, this is PolitiFact. They have to throw in this, but this accounts for less than 1% of the total farmland in the U.S. Oh, really? But how much of the entire other farmland is owned by one person, 10 people? This is a large percentage. There's 248,000 acres. Now, why do you suppose he wants that?
Because he doesn't farm it.
No.
He doesn't farm it. There's so many things about Bill Gates. First of all, he's not vaxxed. Okay, let's get that. Let's be clear. Bill Gates has never taken the vaccine. And if you're listening and you want to challenge me, let's get a doctor to take a blood test and let's check your blood and see if you've been vaxxed. You haven't. You won't take the poison. You know better. Okay, and the government should just take his land by eminent domain, and because he doesn't need that land. That land should go to farmers so they can make food for this country.
Hang on, Joe. I got YouTube on the line.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and by the way, saying that he's not going to farm it, I don't think it's true. He's going to farm it. He's going to farm soybeans, and that's how you print your steaks. These are made out of soybean? These fake meat, Beyond Meat, whatever they call them.
Tofu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's my theory, and we're gonna keep digging down this hole. Here's my theory. Okay, Mr. Gates is wealthy. We all know he's wealthy. He's super wealthy. He's a billionaire times I don't know how many. And if we want, we can go back and do a show on how he got his wealth. And I'm pretty sure he stole most of it in one shape, way, or form or another. But he has a lot of money. He eats the best Kobe, the best whatever. Serve it to him by his servants every time he eats. He doesn't eat soy. Okay. And if like Joe said, if you want to challenge me on that, knock yourself out. His wife left him because of his constant interludes with Epstein before his untimely hanging. So this is not a good guy. He is probably maybe a Napoleon complex type of guy. I'm not really sure what his stature is, but he probably, and this is just a theory of mine, just from studying human nature. He's probably been smacked around and abused all through school since around probably second or third grade. He
probably deserved it.
Yeah, he probably. Well, I don't know, but he probably got his book smacked out of his hand. He got the wedgies. He got the beatings. He probably got the tape up and thrown in the locker. In high school. He tried to go to college. He dropped out of college. So this is a guy that's probably was abused by one or both of his parents. We don't know, but prove me wrong. I'll apologize. So this is a guy that doesn't want to do anything now but get revenge. This is a psychologically disabled man. There's something wrong with his psyche, and he wants to play Revenge of the Nerds. That's what this is. So and it'll make more sense. This guy's a whack job. He wants to control everything. He wants to control the weather because he has a godlike. He's not even a doctor or anything, and he wants to play that godlike image. He wants to control the weather. He wants to control what you eat, not what he eats, what you eat. And then they're going to throw in this ridiculous nonsense about saving the planet, and like you said, Paul, getting rid of the cows because that's going to save the planet. Kill all the people. That'll save the planet.
Now that you mentioned kill all the people, I have heard theories that they would like to kill all the people, or most of the people anyway.
Well, here's a fact. Bill Gates suggested that we reduce the population by means of vaccine.
No.
That's a fact.
No.
Well, it's almost as if the lab in China had a depopulation platform ready to go. Thank God it wasn't perfected.
Yeah, and it's even deeper than that. I mean, there are links, obviously, to United States research facilities.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hopefully, we'll get to the bottom of that. But I want to want to give a quick explanation because I have a clip of Mr. Gates talking about. We'll set it up after this. Anyway, Department of International Development, India. Is DFID. So you're going to hear that in this clip. It's headquartered in New Delhi. It's part of the British High Commission family. It implements DVIDs, that's what they call it, DVIDs, largest single overseas program contributing to poverty eradication. This is almost Zelensky-like. DVID Indian focuses are supporting partner states and implementing comprehensive approaches to poverty reduction, supporting effective provisions of services to the poor, and supporting and enabling environmental for economic growth. So it rests assured, everything that I just said, they do the opposite. Years ago, when this was put in, was it 97, I think? If anything that they claimed they were doing since that time worked, we wouldn't have more hunger and poverty in this country than we did then. And that's a fact, too. But anyway, this clip, it's got a little weird weird sound in the beginning because I believe that he actually did the interview from a farm, so you might hear a little cow in the beginning. But check it out.
Well, the Gates Foundation has partnered with DFID on a great number of things, and among those are work we do together on livestock, helping animals survive either by having vaccines or better genetics, helping them be more productive. It's making a big difference. I was down in Ethiopia seeing how chickens are out there laying more eggs, getting more nutrition, and even some small savings into the household. So Edinburgh happens to be where a lot of the world's best work on this is done, and that's why DFID and the Gates Foundation are funding scientists here. So
I find that ironic. Obviously, it wasn't. People aren't going to find it ironic. They're going to say, "Oh yeah, look what he's doing."
Yeah.
He just openly admitted that they have no problem vaccinating the meat you're going to eat.
Right.
We don't know what they're vaccinated with. But this guy is a firm believer. And again, like you said, Joe, he didn't take any vaccines, but he's a firm believer in that you should be taking it.
Right.
And they're going to get it into you no matter how. And whether it's through your food source, if you want to eat near meat or whatever you want to call it, that's already poisoned. And he brings up the egg thing. So this guy is smart enough to know his topics. Put it that way. So it's manipulative. But anyway, yeah, in January 2020, Gates Foundation announced the creation of the nonprofit entity called Gates AG1, which aims to speed up efforts to provide smallholder farmers in developing countries.
Ag 1?
Yes, that's what it is. With access to affordable tools and innovations they need to sustainably improve crop productivity and adapt to the effects of climate change. So this guy is definitely in your food, and that's what he's about.
Yeah, not a comforting thought. Although everything nowadays is vaccinated. Chickens. Well, that's maybe even one of the reasons this avian flu thing. Boy, I haven't heard anything about a vaccine for the avian flu. Have you?
No, they have to let the flu run its course, and ironically, they have to kill the infected chickens.
Yeah.
So we're never going to hear about the source because I'm sure it's assumed it's a natural. It's just a bird flu. Birds die.
Right.
Birds die. Egg distribution centers / manufacturers, what are you going to call them? They get burst into flames all of a sudden. And this is another part of the problem, because we always have to go back every time we have a discussion about something like this. You have to include the 5 pillars, and the media is great, because if this doesn't have anything to do with toilet paper, if you don't think it has anything to do with toilet paper, you'd be wrong. Because what happened what was it, just a scant couple of years ago?
With the toilet paper shortage?
One woman. Actually, the part of the problem was a commercial that I forget which retailer put out, but they had a woman or a guy, I don't know who knows what it was, running down the aisle with the shopping cart doing the arm drag of toilet paper, and then next thing you know, it was picked up by media, and of course they said toilet paper and shortage in the same sentence, so the panic buyers went out and caused a shortage. And I'm not suggesting that some of the manufacturers weren't slowing it down either, because most of the big manufacturers in this country are way over to the left. They'll kiss anybody's behind just to make sure they don't get boycotted. So lo and behold, what did we have? We had the most successful country in the world, the first world country, the United States of America, with a toilet paper shortage.
It's pretty funny when you think about it.
It's hilarious. A toilet paper shortage. People were black market trading toilet paper on eBay so they could wipe the... Seinfeld, I'm sorry, I can't spare a square. An embarrassment. I mean, well, it makes sense because we have a president that's an international embarrassment. So we ran out of toilet paper. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So lo and behold, again, why are eggs so high? Oh, we're told the avian flu. Well, and there's nobody out there that's not panic buying. Eggs. What are, I don't know what eggs are costing you guys, but I happen to be in a decent area where they're not that expensive, and I don't really give a rat's behind anyway. If they go too high, I just won't buy them. But right. Apparently, a large percentage of citizens use eggs as their primary source of protein. So, I mean, it's the cat chasing its tail. You know,
I've seen, whether true or not, I've seen photos of egg prices. I saw one from a Walmart somewhere, and it was like, I don't know, $15 or something, $13. Yeah. It's some crazy number for a dozen eggs, or a dozen and a half. Here, it's not that bad, although, you know, it's $5, which, you know, used to be $1.99.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a quote unquote affordable to some people, but it's a ridiculous percentage increase.
You know, I know a few people, like a couple of people that I work with have chickens. Our cousins got chickens, and you know, obviously with eggs, and they don't have any problems with their birds. No flu.
No flu.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, at least I'm thinking off the top of my head, I know half a dozen people in different parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey that have, you know, they got 8 or 9, maybe,
right.
You know, half a dozen chickens, a dozen chickens, some of them running around their yards, making eggs, no problems.
Well, as it turns out, some of the, and this is anecdotal, we were talking about this earlier, Paul, some of the small 100 chicken people, whatever you call them, finding out that their chickens aren't laying eggs like they used to. You know, I don't know what they do. Were they 2 or 3 a day, whatever?
One a day, every 12 hours.
Okay, one a day.
Dude, man, come on.
No,
chickens are just farting out eggs all day long.
Chickens lay eggs every 12 hours, and what they do.
What?
Listen to me. Would you listen to me? I know a little bit about this.
You know a little bit about it.
And if you want your chickens to be more productive during the nighttime, you shine a light. You keep a light burning so they think the sun is out, they'll lay 2 eggs every 12 hours. They'll lay an egg, but at nighttime, if you don't have a light, they won't lay an egg. So they'll only do.
My point is, come to find out that some of these people are finding that their chickens aren't laying any eggs, 1 a week or whatever. And somebody, I think anecdotally said, I don't know, maybe it's the feed, and switched up their feed from the Purina brand, and the chickens reverted back to normal egg laying activities.
Yeah.
I heard a couple of stories like that. I saw one girl who had a decent sized flock, and they stopped giving eggs. Now we got to also consider how long have they been doing this, because people won't know that when it gets dark, like in the winter, they shut down just because of what Joe said. You know,
right?
So you know, a lot of farmers will put a light on. Give them extra hours in the winter so their schedule stays the same, you know.
Yeah.
That being said, this girl tried giving them her goat feed instead, which I don't know if it's pellets or whatever goat feed comes in, but chickens are omnivores. They'll eat anything, and they started laying again. So I've heard a couple of stories like that. And the what's making the rounds is the Purina off brands that they sell at like Tractor Supply, or the big ones people are talking about. So could be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something that unfortunately nobody's researching or looking into, and these are the things that they should be looking into. But then that's why, you know, you could call a conspiracy theory, whatever. But when obvious interests like this aren't picked up by the news, the mainstream media, it automatically a red flag goes off.
That sets an alarm off right off the bat.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna read some of this off these lists because this is just crazy. The food processing plants and distribution centers are being burnt to a crisp, a particular trend that's been going on since 2021. And I looked up this list and I was like, wow. Does anybody believe in coincidence?
No.
Because at the same time, you have guys like Gates talking about feeding you injected meat, and shortages and prices going up, and nothing about this is natural. But there's everything from there's a I know this might be long and boring, but I'll hit a couple of them. Made Steak Company in Pennsylvania, a food processing plant in San Antonio, a potato plant in Maine, potato plant in Washington State. This is all food of the people. Bonanza Meat Company in El Paso, another Oregon, Nestle Hot Pockets plant.
Not the Hot Pockets.
The Hot Pockets plant in Arkansas.
Man, not the Hot Pockets.
That's not good. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people, disturbed about that one. The Hot Pockets go up in price. I don't know what's going to go on. Walmart distribution center in Indiana, a Walmart storefront, onion factories. Yeah, Tyson's Poultry.
That was a big one. I remember that.
Tyson's Feed Ingredient Factory in Alabama. JBS Meats. I'm trying to look for some of the big ones.
JBS is a big deal. They're hooked up down in Brazil, I think. When I'm always going sideways here, but from I think it's Pink Floyd, The Final Cut, where he says a group of anonymous Latin American meatpacking glitterati. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's JBS he's talking about there, by the way.
And they went down.
And now check out Smithfield. That's Chinese owned Smithfield. That's like they own like 40% of America's freaking
it's a pig slough. That one in North Carolina. But check the pattern here. Fertilizer plant.
Yeah.
Another fertilizer plant in Kansas. Plane crash near General Mills. Plane crash at Gem State. Potato processing. Maricopa food pantry. Now that's affecting local hunger populations. Another meat company in Georgia. River Valley Ingredients. Now, when you start hitting ingredients factories, that's a huge impact.
And this is not United States only either.
These are no. That was just the United States.
Yeah.
These are fires.
Yeah, fires, planes that were crashed into them, mysterious other. No accounting, no inquiries, no investigations into why they caught on fire. So yeah, it's not, and that happened to be. I grabbed that one from Wine Press News, but. Approximately 20 fires in U.S. food processing facilities in 4 months, and nobody looked into it. So,
these are factories and buildings that don't necessarily burn. They're made out of metal. There's some there's some stuff inside, obviously, but
everybody knows that meat is flammable, man. Come on.
Right.
Yeah, it's like whale fat. They use it to burn lanterns.
It's like gasoline, man.
Yeah.
Animal. Steaks just spontaneously combust all the time.
Well, you guys can look at this any way you want to look at it. We can look at it. I'm not sure how much humor we inject into it. That was kind of a pun. But let's face it. Meat prices are going up. Egg prices are going up. Cheese prices are going up. Everything food related is going up. There's a handful of perishables that came down, and I believe that was a supply and demand issue.
Try taking a look at cold cuts lately.
Yeah. Jim, I think we should take a quick break here, and so I can clear my head.
Good time to talk about the newest endeavor, I guess you can call it, called buymeacoffee.com. So we signed up for buymeacoffee.com, and you can actually go on there and donate or, a quick amount, or you can subscribe for a certain amount. We have different levels out there. You go to buymeacoffee.com/shinebox, and you can find it there. Also embedded the button on the website, so you can just hit that up either on your phone or, on your computer and just smash that button. That's at 10mmm.org. I'm going to link all the links to the content in the description of all our podcasts, including Rumble and on YouTube, if we continue to use them. And of course, shineboxcontact@gmail.com is our direct email address. Here's another one that's out there on a link, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It's the Twitter handle. It's at frickin' Shinebox, and that's going to be spelt a little different. FRIKKEN Shinebox, at frickin' Shinebox. So check those out when you get a chance. And as always, they're in the descriptions of all our podcasts that we release. Yes, Joe, I was getting a little overbearing and missed your cue. So,
That's okay.
Hey, we're really recording here, okay?
Yeah, I mean, you guys got like special cues that I don't know about. I feel left out, or am I just slow?
Well, I think that's why I missed it.
Because it was in my head.
We'll have to work that out. Hey, that's how the sausage is made around here. We're really cooking.
Right. That's right.
So.
I had to slow you down. I had to throw the anchor out. Come on.
Tailwind, pull it in. But yeah, so anyway, Paul, did you want to wrap us up with that interesting piece of news about China? Because that would take us home.
Which interesting piece? Now you lost me.
Oh no, you know what we were talking about.
Yeah, that was like an hour ago, man.
Oh yeah. Well, oh, that's right. You did just have a birthday. So.
Oh man.
So, ooh, it was a big one. I feel a big one coming on. You know about the donut thing.
Oh, geez. Yes, I'm looking around for confirmation that China bought Krispy Kreme.
Oh.
And if this is true, then we're gonna have to do something about this. To be honest, I don't think I've ever had a Krispy Kreme, but I hear they're freaking awesome. Everybody loves them.
They're pretty popular down here. Yeah.
So, everybody loves Krispy Kreme.
Of course, my question would be, and I hope I don't have to edit this, but what flavor would they make?
I don't know, gook flavor.
Chop suey.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm thinking white rice and cream, or I don't know.
No, they
Bok choy.
They eat weird stuff down there, like cats and dogs and bats. It'd be bat flavored donuts, man.
They could just call it COVID cream.
That's right.
COVID cream.
You come buy new COVID cream donut.
19 varieties.
Yeah. You want 2 from column A and 1 from column B.
Yes.
So, and I don't know if that's racist.
Oh, but here we have pangolin version.
Yeah.
You know that YouTube's throwing us off this week, right?
I don't know. I just don't care. But anyway, fellas, it's been fun. It's been real. We've been truthful. We're as honest as we can be. I hope somebody grabbed some information out of this, and at least, like Joe was saying earlier, at least put on a little armor to beef yourself up against the lies. You know?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and put on the armor of God.
Absolutely. Yeah, you sure need it in this day and age.
What we got coming up is darkness.
Biblical.
Biblical.
And it could be biblical level. Yeah, we'll get back into the coming apocalypse. Although the food shortage probably be tied in with it. So
I couldn't get honey roasted peanuts for the beach. Okay. Sorry, Paul. When you be flying without your honey roasted peanuts this
flying.
trip.
I'm not the one flying. You.
How come they don't have 100 for my Ferrari? All right, guys, we're out. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.